Hello, my name is Armida. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the third and final trimester of pregnancy. Almost done. I am, yes. If you don't know me, I am 25 years old, so rather young to be a mom, I like to think. I'm only 5'2" as well. And this is my first pregnancy, first ever child. So I had no idea what to expect. So videos like these really helped me out when I found out that I was pregnant, and I was looking into what sort of things was going to happen to me and all the different stuff that was going to happen to my body. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the third trimester, because as of today, I believe tomorrow I'll be 39 weeks pregnant, which is very close to 40, and 40 is about what they say is approximately the due date for most mothers. But for this video, we're going to be breaking it down into sections, starting off with physical symptoms, just like stuff I felt with my body that we can pinpoint. And then the third chunk will be talking about fetal growth, like the different ways I was able to track our little baby growing throughout the third trimester specifically. And lastly, I'm just going to chat just a little bit about how I felt overall in the third trimester as compared to the second and first trimesters, and a little bit of before I was even pregnant. Okay, so first off, physical symptoms. So some symptoms that I still continue to feel that I did also feel in the second trimester was heartburn. I did mention it in my second trimester video that I started to feel some heartburn. Well, that did not go away. If anything, it got worse in the third trimester. I found that my hunger, like my appetite, increased, so therefore I wanted bigger meals. But when, you know, my bump is growing, the baby's getting bigger, she's taking up more space in my abdomen, so therefore big meals plus big baby do not mix very well, so I got a lot of heartburn. So I found that I had to like reduce my meal size, and that definitely reduced my heartburn quite a bit. And up until I got COVID not very long ago, and therefore I was like reclining the whole time I was like recovering from the virus, and I was having heartburn basically every day. Anytime I was horizontal laying down in bed, I was having heartburn. So now, like even up until now, I mean, I'm recovered from COVID obviously, I have to have my little like container of Tums next to the bed, so just in case I'm trying to sleep and I'm just like, ooh, you know, just like coughing up a little bit of heartburn, and therefore it really bugs me and I can't fall asleep. Secondly, I talked about bladder control in the second trimester, or the lack thereof. Well, that got worse, so much worse. I think in the second trimester, I think there was probably a couple times where I would do a big sneeze or something, especially while I was like sitting reclining here at home, and I just had my guard down, I guess you would say, and I like peed a little. That definitely did get worse. So if I do a big sneeze and I'm not prepared for it, I am most guaranteed to pee myself a little bit, and I have had to change my underwear quite a few times. It's not glamorous at all. There's actually a few occasions that if I did a big cough, you know, like I said, I did get COVID, so I did have to cough sometimes. And even the coughing, even a big, like, hearty cough made me pee myself a little bit. Yeah, is not very nice. I've had to, like, carry an extra thing of underwear in my purse at all times just in case it happens out in public. Lucky for me, it only happened, like, one time at the grocery store, but it's mostly tends to happen when I'm, like, relaxed and I'm chilling at home, and I think just like my body in general, I'm just very relaxed, and like the baby, her head is much lower in my body, that she's like sitting right there on top of my bladder, so whenever I do a big sneeze, big cough, she just squeezing a little bit of my bladder. Okay, some new things is a swelling. When I first became pregnant, a lot of my family members were like, oh, do you have swollen feet? Like, they just kept like staring at my feet and stuff. I think my feet were very normal up until the third trimester, or at least this like second half of the third trimester. Yeah, I switched to like comfortable shoes right away as soon as I found I was pregnant. I was like, okay, I'm ditching these heels, you know, anything that wasn't comfortable, it was not getting on my feet. I was like, nope, not gonna do that. I've been wearing like the rubber cheaper kind of a Birkenstocks. That's literally the only shoe that I've worn. I treated myself to a couple of different colors for that comfort, but it wasn't until like the second half of the third trimester where there was like a couple days where I would really push myself, and I did a lot of stuff. I was just walking around, you know, preparing stuff, you know, baby stuff, as you do as an expecting mother. And when I got home, I could like tell that my feet were very swollen. Like I could just feel it, just like in a way of like the way that I tried to like wrinkle, you know, crunch up my toes. I was like, oh, I can tell that my feet are very swollen. And sure enough, I just like look at them and like give them a little poke on the top, and I could tell it's just like puffy, you know, retaining that water. And then not that long ago, I did my baby shower, and so I was very active that weekend. I did a lot of like baby stuff, baby shower stuff. I had an art event going on. I think that was the same weekend as Chaos Theory. So I was doing all these things on my feet, a whole bunch that I wasn't before. And yeah, both of my feet swollen. For some reason, my left foot seemed to get more swollen than the right foot. The right foot might get like a little swollen, and then it reduces the swollenness really fast. I don't know what's up with that. Next is like hot flashes. I don't know. People say hot flashes. That's just what they use. But I think I just feel hot just in general, just all the time. Like I used to enjoy a nice like hot shower, a nice hot steamy shower. You know, it's a thing that women love, nice warm showers. Well, I don't anymore. Now if I want to shower, it's gonna be a cold shower, or, you know, lukewarm kind of shower, like all the time. I was, you know, pregnant during the entirety of the summer, so that might have something to do with it as well. But yeah, I'm just like hot, just like in general all the time. And I think that has something to do with like, you know, just being bigger. I am just like heavier than normal. I got a lot of blood, a lot of different stuff for the baby going on in my body, that it totally makes sense. But just like I just generally feel warmer, just like overall, and I just want to be cool. I want fans on blast all the time. Just all day, all night. I want a fan on me at all times. Lastly, a new thing that I noticed, well, just like it just became very prevalent. So my heart rate, like my resting heart rate, has just gone slowly up throughout basically the entire pregnancy. And it wasn't until like the third trimester where I was like, okay, this is notable now. I even like wrote it down that like before I was pregnant, my average resting heart rate was 65 beats per minute. But now that I am pregnant and, you know, I got a lot more blood in me, my heart needs to work a lot harder just to like have me do basic stuff. It's gone up to almost 80 beats per minute just as my resting heart rate. Just chilling, just resting. I did get a new Fitbit in the middle of this pregnancy, so maybe it's just being more accurate, but I do feel it. Like I do feel my heart beating a lot more, a lot harder, a lot faster, just in general. But every time I go to the doctor, which I do, I go to my regular scheduled appointments, she says my blood pressure. My blood pressure is great for, you know, a pregnant woman. Probably not for a non-pregnant woman, but for a pregnant woman, she's like looking great. She says that every time. So I believe my heart is healthy. It's just like a very notable thing. And then especially when I did get COVID and I had like a slight fever, my heart rate got all the way up to, I think the max it was that I wrote down was 89 beats per minute. For me, I'm 5'2", very petite woman, it should, like, my resting heart rate should be quite low. like I think 65 was pretty healthy before I got pregnant, but now I was like almost reaching 90 just as resting. But also I did get COVID, so that's totally not normal for your body to do that, but I did notice it, and so it slowly freaked me out throughout the pregnancy. Okay, lightning round of a few physical symptoms that I did not see throughout the pregnancy that usually people talk about, that or I saw very little of, was breast milk. Sometimes some expecting moms get a little bit of breast milk already coming out when they're pregnant. I really didn't see that much. Like, there were only like a handful of days where there might have been like a single drop. Like, I saw a single drop coming out, or like I was able to see it, and that was about it. So every time I mentioned it to my doctor, she was like, well, if you do see breast milk, it's a very good sign that I'll be able to breastfeed and provide my baby with that milk when she does arrive. But if anything, I think I probably saw it more in the second trimester than I did the third. I have no idea what that's about, what that means. Oh yeah, another thing that I did not experience was contractions. I don't think I've really experienced a contraction this whole pregnancy. There was one day where I did a lot of Halloween decor shopping for the baby shower. I hit up like 4 stores or something, and I like went up and down stairs here at the apartment, lugging my haul. And when I got back, I felt like a crampy kind of pain going on in the little area where she was. It was like for a couple, like 5 minutes, I believe, that I did tell my mom and my mother-in-law that I did feel that I thought I felt a contraction, especially because when you do push yourself a lot, while you're pregnant, that can happen. But as long as it goes away when you sit down and rest, then you should be fine. If I feel a contraction now at 39 weeks pregnant, it's very different, but I think that was like very early on in the third trimester that I did feel that contraction. Yeah, that's probably like the one and only time I've been very in tune with my body, and so I think if I was able to feel another contraction, I would know it. But like every time I'm like, ooh, I feel something, it's just a bowel movement, very standard stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that was a contraction. I just had to go use the restroom or something like that. All right, for the second part of this video, we're gonna talk about fetal growth, which is really exciting because we love tracking how much our baby's grown. Like that's the whole thing that happens during pregnancy, is that the baby's growing. So it's great. It's great stuff to be able to track it. So yeah, starting off, the very first obvious thing is the bump getting bigger. I think if you saw my second trimester video that I did take at the very end of the second trimester, that's how big my bump was. It's in the thumbnail. There she is. And I remember at the time taking the picture being like, well, because I think all the way up until like the end of the second trimester, I really hadn't shown the bump, or like not just to like you guys, but just in general. Like I didn't feel like she was big enough to really wear clothes that enunciated her, if that makes sense. Like I felt like for most of the pregnancy, I like looked like really awkward, like, oh, like is she pregnant? or is she just like a short woman with a belly, like. And it wasn't until the third trimester that like the bump really got big and like got like that cute like pregnancy bump. Like now I'm getting like stopped on the street, not the street, I don't walk the streets, at the grocery store, and they're just like, oh my god, you're such a cute pregnant woman, just like people complimenting me being pregnant. I'm like, oh yeah, yep, I do look pregnant now here in the third trimester. And what also ties in with bumps growing is stretch marks. So I haven't mentioned stretch marks up until this video, but I was fully prepared for them because I've gotten stretch marks just in the past from traditional fat growth on my body. Specifically, I had stretch marks on my hips, like right there on the hips, both sides, just like straight up and not straight. It's like maybe like an angle up and down lines on my hips, and then like tiny little ones on my thighs that I really don't notice too much. But I did have very prominent ones on my hips. So because I've gotten those stretch marks before, I was like, okay, I know that my body can do that. I know my skin is capable of doing that, and it's going to be going through a lot during this pregnancy. So I am fully prepared for stretch marks to happen, but you know, might as well like treat your body nice. So this whole pregnancy, after every shower, I've been putting like a unscented balm on my belly. Like it's like a little bit of a ritual thing after every shower, rubbing the belly down with that balm, and then specifically going over my hips. Sadly, I did end up getting stretch marks, but only, I think I wrote down that at week 35, I noticed that the tips of my previous stretch marks on my hips were like a little inflamed, you know, like they were like little candles, if that makes sense. Like they were starting to grow, you know, like I said, they were these lines, and so they started, it looked like they were starting to get longer. So I was like, oh, okay, there it is. Week 35, we started to see it. But then on like the very first week of week 38, so like this week, I think I was like looking in the mirror, and I was like, oh, you know, the bottom, like the very bottom of my bump, my belly, feels a little itchy. What's going on under there? And so like I tried looking in the mirror, and sure enough, there are some stretch marks at the very bottom of my belly, you know, kind of going upwards towards my belly button. It's really hard for me to see, but I could definitely feel them. But yeah, they're like right around, like maybe like on top of where a C-section scar would be, if that makes any sense. All the way down there that I can barely see them right now. I guess the placement is not the worst, you know, like it could be worse. They could be on like the top of the belly button and all the way on the sides, but no, they're all the way down there. So that's not too bad. I am like still trying to put that balm on and stay hydrated, you know, and doing all the necessary stuff to take care of my body in a nice natural way. But yeah, I did end up seeing stretch marks. I'm like, I mean, I knew this would happen. You know, they say it's like, it's very much hereditary as well. Like my mom did get stretch marks when she was pregnant with me. So even if I hadn't gotten stretch marks myself beforehand in my life, I would have known, because my mom also had them. And so just generic fetal growth that I'd be able to see from just looking at my bump is that, yeah, all of her kicks are very much noticeable, like visibly noticeable from, you know, the outside. Like here we are, the outside, and she's on the inside. So yeah, her kicks are very much noticeable. Like they jostle my belly around a bit. I have said this before in my previous videos talking about my baby, is that she's been a very active fetus. All the way from the very first ultrasound at like 9-10 weeks, she was like dancing in there as like a tiny little fetus like this big. Her second ultrasound, she was flipping, doing somersaults in there at like 22 weeks and making me have to faint because she was taking so long at the ultrasound. Like she's just been a very active fetus. Yeah, she even has like a favorite spot that she loves to put her feet in. Like I can almost guarantee when she's nice and active that she's gonna put a little foot right here below my rib on my left side. That's her favorite spot to put a little foot in. Now that I'm like near the end of it and she's like so big, now I know if anyone wants to feel her little feet, basically when she's nice and active, I'm like, oh, put your hand right here, and then she'd do a little like boom, you know, it's like guaranteed. It feels really cool. Okay, lastly, we did have her last ultrasound in the third trimester at I think about 32 weeks. It's very traditional third ultrasound. Sadly, she did not flip and rotate like she did in her 22-week ultrasound. That's just because she's too big to do that now. So she was very much had her head down. That's where you want the baby to be. You want the baby's head to be down, the feet to be up. I think in the whole third trimester, every time my doctor would check her positioning, yep, she had her head down, feet up, which is exactly what you want. With that third and final ultrasound, everything was like totally good, totally normal. We sadly couldn't get a good could look at like her face, anything above her like nose up here, because she was using the placenta sac as like a pillow or like a little eye mask thing going on, and she would not move from that. She's taking a fat nap, I guess. So we were only able to see her nose and her mouth. But one thing we were able to guess is that she must have like my husband's lips, because she has some nice luscious like plump lips. I have pretty normal sized lips, I like to say, and like my husband has thicker lips than I do, so we're like, oh, she must be getting that from her daddy. Yeah, so that was the only like feature that we were able to like pinpoint from that last ultrasound. But sadly, she's been growing nice and healthy and on track, so that means we won't be able to see her again until she's born. So I was like, gosh dang it, I had to have a healthy baby that I won't be able to see in another ultrasound until she's born. I'm just teasing. Okay, lastly, the last section of this is just like how I feel in general. I think I had more to say in the second trimester because it was like such a big change from the first trimester. First trimester, I was down in the dumps, a little sad little bean I was, and then the second trimester, I got all that energy back. I was able to paint again. Painting is like my whole thing, so that it was such a huge transformation from the first to second, that from the second to third, I wouldn't say that my energy has like diminished like a ton. If anything, what I keep saying to people is that I have energy. Like I do. It's not like I was back to the first trimester where I was just so fatigued, taking naps all the time. I just felt awful, just like in general, on top of like some slight nausea and everything. But now it's like, okay, I don't feel nauseous. I do still have, you know, a good amount of energy like I did in the second trimester, but like to do things, it's just harder to do because I have all this extra blood and the bump is bigger. Just like moving around is just a little bit harder to do. Like I find myself getting sweatier faster, just doing things, maybe getting a little bit of out of breath, if that makes sense, but not like in a but like I can feel, it just feels like it's more mundane things feel more like a workout. Like, and I guess that ties in with the whole my heart rate is a little bit higher thing, but I was also talking about like just resting heart rate. This is just like just doing things, especially like standing feels so tough to do. Walking around, I'm fine walking around. I can walk for days. But like the moment I have to stand, it has to be like a blood flow thing with like, if it's just like my blood trying to go to my feet and back up, and it's just tough. But when I'm walking, you know, everything's like moving around and it's totally fine. Overall, how I feel is just like, I'm chilling, you know, like I'm not super nauseous and fatigued like the first trimester, but also I don't have all the energy and like a small baby like I did in the second trimester. So it's like, yeah, it's very much different, but also like a little pick and stuff. In general, in summary, I just feel a lot like I did with the second trimester, but I have a bigger baby now. That's really it. So stuff that comes with a big baby got worse. So that's about it. So in summary, that's really about it. Yeah, but I think to conclude this video, I guess let's take a look at the bump, because she grew like a whole bunch. Okay, let me get off this chair and I can show you the bump. All right, no real costume change this time. I think usually I put on some yoga pants, but I think I've bought in like the extra large like maternity pants, and they're pretty snug. So, but honestly, she is so big, I don't even need to put on tight pants for you to see her. Look at this. Let me get the mic cord out of the way. Yeah. Look at my baby bump. This is so crazy. Okay, well this angle, we're kind of getting like a top-down angle, so she looks a lot lower than she really is. I swear, she is all the way up here to my ribs. I'm getting to the point now where I sit down and she's right here with me. I'm like, oh, hey girl, how you doing? She's really not that low sitting. I swear. But yeah, with that, yeah, that's basically the third trimester. Tomorrow I'm gonna be 39 weeks pregnant, so I am quite literally very close to delivering. I think I've been saying that in these videos for quite a long time, but I think it's because everyone's been planting it in my mind that I'm gonna give birth really soon, even though she doesn't feel like she wants to go anywhere. Yeah, so I would not be surprised. I'm saying this now. I guess you'll find out pretty soon that I feel like she's gonna be a past the due date kind of baby, because she does not feel like she wants to go anywhere. Like I said, no contractions of any kind. All the signs that like, oh, labor might be happening soon. Nothing like that happening to me and her right now, which I mean, it's totally fine. It gives me more time to prepare. We do have all the baby things and stuff like that. The last thing we have to do is just go and stay at my parents' house, but everything over there is fully prepared for us. Just like us just packing a couple bags and heading over there, and then bringing the cats as well. I'm pointing to Coffee Bean. He's zonked out here while I've been recording this whole time. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. This is usually the part where I'm like, ooh, like and subscribe for pregnancy content, but there won't be a pregnancy, and for much longer there'll be a baby. So like and subscribe for baby content, question mark. I'm not too sure how much of my postpartum I will share, but surely I'll be giving my thoughts. I like to be very honest on this channel, so I know I will be sharing my thoughts, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm a new mom. This is all very new to me, but I do find these videos to help me figure out how I feel about stuff, and also document it for the future and for other people who could also use some helpful advice and just some insight into what this is like. So yep, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, goodbye.